Put your mouth on it.
In your new school success fund, how much money do you envision your administration will spend and allocate to fully fund special education? And how would you ensure that it's spent for services that learning disabled children need?
What she's talking about, she's obviously very, very into this issue. Let me just make sure everybody's up to speed with us. What's happened with special education in America is the federal government passed a special education law many years ago, and there was a legal requirement for the federal government to meet a certain percentage of the funding responsibility. The federal government has never come close to meeting its responsibility. And so what it does, if you think about this practically, there's a law on the books, it's enforced, so local schools have to make up the difference. That's what it boils down to. So in a place like New Hampshire, where you still don't have universal kindergarten, you don't have kindergarten in every community in this state. One of the reasons you don't is because the local schools are carrying the financial burden that the federal government's supposed to be meeting. And so what I have committed to do is to submit a budget that gets us on track to fully fund special education from the federal level. My entire education plan, I'm doing this from memory, it's probably in that book, but I'm doing, let me mention that, by the way. Can I borrow that for those of you who haven't seen it, you know, I actually put in writing what I want to do as president so that you don't just have to guess about it. You can hold me to this. These are my specific proposals on everything from health care to energy to civil liberties to education to the war, everything, every big issue that's facing the country. The specific proposals are laid out in this book. So if you have any questions about what I would do as president and it doesn't get answered here today, pick up a copy of this book. We want you to have it. I want you to know when you vote exactly what I would do as president of the United States. Thank you. What I'm doing, so the reason sometimes I don't carry these numbers around in my head accurately, I think this is right though. I think all of my education proposals, I think in the first year the cost is $7 billion and it escalates from there. Because some of these things take a period of time to kick here. And they're paid for by a variety of mechanisms. One is to get rid of the banks as the intermediaries between the government and student loan recipients. That's $4 or $5 billion a year. I've also proposed for wealthier families that make over $250,000 a year that we raise the capital gains rate from 15%, which is where it is today, to 28%. That's the problem with that Warren Buffett story, by the way. I mean, that's the reason. But most people who are very wealthy, they make their money from investments. And the result is they only pay a capital gains rate. And the capital gains rate is a flat 15%. So what it means is they're paying 15%, and their secretary, who's paying an earned income tax rate, is paying a higher rate. That's the problem. That's the reason none of those 400 can say, my secretary pays a lower rate than I do. So that basically those are the two big mechanisms for funding. That provides way more than enough money to do what I propose in terms of both special education and education at large. Yes, sir.